Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Kultura podcast with Rock and Dea. We're here today with an actor, jujitsu artist, and your local favorite teacher at the same time. His name is Afrim. Afrim, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here today to talk about where you hail from, your story, what got you into the world of art, acting, and mixing it all together kind of in a way that's so transformational, but bringing it back to the base of teaching kids what it means to pursue your dreams. I know I'm inspired by all of it, but I'll start out by asking a bit about your background. Where do you come from in the Albanian diaspora or ethnic Albania?
Yes, Pljav in Montenegro,
Okay.
uh, former Yugoslavia. Uh, Parents were born and raised there and came to the States in early 70s. And I have three older siblings, and then I just came sometime down the line. They were like, "Yeah, I think we still got it. Let's have one more."
One more.
So,
And
so me and you are the babies,
Yeah,
youngest siblings. I like that.
I'm the
yeah.
eldest.
Keep us in line. Yeah,
Trying. But that's really cool. We haven't had many from Montenegro on the show. We've had Medina in the past, so I think you're probably the second that we've had on the show. We've had Zef as well, whose parents are from Montenegro. But just to see that story, how did you guys come to the US? What was the reason that brought you over to the US?
I think for my parents specifically, it was just the whole, hey, it's the land of milk and honey. We can make it happen over here. We're not kind of being held down and oppressed if we go to this place. It was just that American dream, uh, fantasy, hope that they had, and they came and you know pursued it.
And you went directly to New York, or were there any other
No,
alternatives?
they were, yeah, I think originally it was New York, Brooklyn the whole time, to my understanding. My father was a superintendent and a elevator man in the city. My mom worked as a cleaning woman in the city. Sorry if you can hear the train going by in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud.
No.
But yeah, they worked, round the clock as parents do. It's like shifts and watch the kids and cook and all that stuff. And then, yeah, Brooklyn, Flatbush, basically our whole lives.
And that's where you live today and are a teacher. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, yes. So I'm still in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, actually. And when I decided to work as a substitute teacher, essentially as a way to supplement the time between acting gigs, because that being my main focus, I also realized you have to work in between. Most people have this fantasy that, like, if you work and you're a successful actor, you're just balling out of control and you don't need to have like a side gig and work jobs. You do. So I just thought I could work a million different jobs, but I'd rather do something meaningful and teach in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. So initially, I went thinking I'd go to the school that I went to, but now that school is actually doing a lot better.
Okay.
And then I said, let me go deeper into Flatbush, where I grew up, and started teaching at a middle school there. And it's really fulfilling. I said this a few times, to friends of mine, but it's equal parts uplifting and heartbreaking at the same time because you get to see the system from the inside.
Hmm.
When you're the substitute teacher, you're kind of like the uncle that gets to come in and see what's going on, and you could be the cool uncle and kind of help everyone out. But yeah, it's challenging. It's fulfilling, but very challenging.
Now, I see you've also you dip your fingers in a lot of things. You're in writing, you're in acting. I've seen your recent comic book that you've passed along to me. You do a lot of
Yeah,
cool things. How'd you get into all this creative path? Where was the start of it? Who kind of influenced you in this?
goodness. I mean, when I go back, I think it all ties. Like a lot of times in life, we have these events, these things that happen, and mine and for my family was my father passing away when I was 5 years old. So out of that can come a few things. You can become repressed and angry and, burn the world down kind of a person, or for whatever reason, I found myself leaning into the area of expression, art, acting, martial arts was really the first thing that I can remember from a very young age watching, martial arts movies with my dad and copying moves and doing all types of stuff and wanting to just like continue in that path and didn't really have money to train. And then when I was 15, craziest true story, I'm standing in front of my building and this guy is walking by and he's carrying paint buckets and wood and he's going into the basement of this building across the street. And I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, "Hey, what are you making?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm making a dojo in this building." And I just went like real life Karate Kid type stuff. And I was like, "Can I help you?" And he looked at me a little bit like sideways and he goes, "Yeah." We literally built this dojo back in 1998 in the basement of a building in Flatbush. And I trained there for 2 years. And that was kind of the thing that built my confidence to start acting. And so it's odd. It's when you when you look at it, it's almost like a storybook, comic book in its own right.
Did you have a wax on, wax off moment?
Yes, but more so with drawing actually, because there's a Shotokan karate, there's a tiger. So it's a tiger within a circle,
Mhm.
kind of represents your internal peace and space and what you can be if necessary. And so we remember drawing it and putting it on the wall, and it was this like really beautiful piece. And it was one of the first lessons that I had where, equal parts you're learning how to defend yourself, but you're also learning how to create and make beautiful things too. So you don't off balance yourself with too much aggression or too much artsy fartsy kind of like art stuff, and then you're not actually effective.
Yeah, interesting.
Like that. You know, I have the firm belief that it's those that seem the most cool, calm, and collected on the outside that are most capable of actual violence. And you give me that vibe, like super cool, calm, collected, but if needed, has actual tools instead of those that talk real loud, but when it comes down,
Yeah.
they don't have
Well,
the tools to show for it.
I appreciate the perception. I'm actually a firm believer that it's typically the weakest people that call for violence. And you could like put that in any direction. And I'm not saying weak as in physically weak. Most of the times they're emotionally weak because they haven't had a chance to express things that have happened in their life. Mentally, maybe they're in a kind of adolescent place where they can't communicate. So, when people try to communicate, whether it's a sorry, philosophy TED Talk lesson, but when people butt heads, whether it's in a relationship or conversation or accidental bump at the club or whatever, you can kind of see where it's going to go. So sometimes it's just better to be like, "Hey, chill," you know.
That's true. I mean, that's why Chihuahuas
Yeah.
bark the loudest. But
Yeah.
wait, onto your acting, we know that you're also an actor, which is so interesting. As someone who did theater when she was younger and drama club and all that kind of stuff, I got pulled into the diplomacy world, but I always imagined what would life have been like if I pursued acting. How did you start that? What made you fall in love with acting?
It would be real tough. That life would be real. No. What pulled me in? I growing up, whether it was with my dad or after he passed, I would always watch movies with my family, or a lot of times by myself, to be perfectly honest, and just watching, in particular, martial arts films or comedies. There's always like some kind of altruistic hero that just did the right thing because it was the right thing to do. Whether that was under the trappings of like wire kung fu movies or Bruce Lee movies or any of that kind of stuff. I just Van Damme. Um,
My favorite.
I Yeah, he's
Canadians
really
love
just.
him.
It's funny because he's a lot better than people give him credit for. Anyone watching right now, watch the movie JCVD, which came out in 2008. There's a monologue that he performs in there that you almost wouldn't believe that it's this guy who is an action star. Um, anyway, back to the question. What started that? Acting. I love making my family laugh. You know, we had a lot of hard times in our youth, so if I could be goofy and silly and make them laugh, I'd love doing that. Um, I would just copy the stuff that I saw. Like if, Bruce Lee's doing nunchucks, I would do them and accidentally crack myself in the head in the middle of the living room and be like, and then just continue to practice and try because, like I said, we didn't have the finances to put me through it. So I just was kind of self teaching myself as much as I could
Mhm.
until eventually I did start training. So um, if that's not the coffee taking full effect, that might answer the question.
Right now, even if it's the coffee speaking, that's completely fine. We want to hear it as quick and generic
Yeah,
as possible.
yeah, yeah. I'm
What are
excited too
some,
because to be perfectly honest, I really love the way that you both carry yourselves online as like a generation of, younger Albanians. I'm 42, so I'm assuming I'm probably like, 10 years
yeah.
older than you guys in that range. And it's really beautiful to see this kind of positivity and openness happening now. And I think the conflict that we may experience sometimes or see, or that maybe I have experienced or made myself self-conscious about, I don't feel that with you guys. And I feel like I can be myself and be open and try to be more a part of the community than I ever was in the past because maybe I felt self-conscious or not enough because, a million different reasons. But like you said, we're having a conversation. I'm not here for sound bites. I'm trying to bring the real thing.
Love that. And we
Yeah.
appreciate it so much because from the inception of this project, Rock and I just wanted to bring that energy and that positivity to bring people because it's so much more magnetic than any other emotion, whether it be, you know, fear or judgment. This is what Albanians need to bring people together. And I heard the other day when I was reading that one of the most strongest vibes that you can actually exist on, the most like strongest energetic wave. People think it's love. While love is amazing, it's actually authenticity. So when you are your most authentic self, you're drawing in more power and you're more magnetic. So to have a space to allow people to do that, we love doing it and we love that you feel that impact too. So thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. I just want to give you guys your flowers a little bit too, because you deserve it. It takes a lot of guts to want to create something and put something out there and be consistent with it. Um, flash in the pan kind of stuff is easy, but to really promote that means a lot.
Yeah,
So,
it's much tougher than it looks. And people, people think sometimes, oh, I can just post a video, I can just do an interview, I can just do this, and then you start telling them, all right, start doing that every day, and then they see that it's not as easy as it looks. Trying to get people all in one room,
oh
like
yeah,
but Albanians too. It's really, really hard, but it's much tougher
any
than it
art,
looks.
any artistic endeavor could be like wrangling cats, but when
Yeah.
you but when you're able to do it, it's really good and it leads to good conversations. So,
Now, what's been one of the coolest experiences or best experiences you've learned so far, at least through your acting career, your martial arts career, your writing career? What have been some of the best experiences and some of the, worst experiences you've had?
one of the best that just comes to mind is kind of knowing um, what you're willing to do for something that you love and truly care about. And this career, it's not for me, it's not about wanting to be seen or perceived by people as like a cool guy or a movie star or anything like that. I just want to try to honestly express myself in any role that I play. Um, I remember going to Buffalo without a dime in my pocket to audition for a play just because I wanted to work with Andre DeShields, who is this like Broadway legend, and he was directing the musical Hair. I
Mm.
went up there. There's no promise of getting anything. Auditioned. I got cast. I ended up, sleeping on couches and eating peanut butter just to like be there to work with this person who is like a decades long legend. That's one of the positive things, but it shows like what are you willing to do for something that you love. Another time I drove. 500 miles to audition for something again with no promise of booking it, and I ended up booking it.
Wow.
Um, just there's those moments that you kind of can take and put in your back pocket and say when things are really tough, like, yeah, I did that. I was willing to do that when like maybe nobody else would. And those are personal victories. Those aren't things that like anyone else is really going to feel the way I feel. But if someone hears that story and says, "Hey, I need to take this chance, win, lose, or draw," you should do it because you really don't get. There aren't many second chances in life, so you should take a big swing. And if you miss, who cares what anyone says about it? You know, um, really, genuinely, who cares? Because the attention span is probably like 2 seconds of insults and then it disappears. So none of it really matters. Worst. Um, Probably the weight of literal hundreds, hundreds of auditions that it's a type of industry you don't hear back unless you get something. You rarely get notes
Mhm.
on if they're like, hey, we like this or we didn't like this or whatever. So you have to just constantly, you're cracking away, you're cracking away, you're cracking away with no little to no feedback. And you have to just kind of sit with your own thoughts and be genuine with yourself. Like if I were to look at an audition that I filmed and sent in, I have to say, yeah, that sucked, or that wasn't my best work. What about that wasn't good? Did I really put the time in? Did I phone this in? Do I have people in my life that can kind of really give me an honest feedback of like I have a really good friend who I've known for 20 plus years. And if I do an audition with him, he'll look at me and say, hey man, you don't know what you're saying right here. Like you actually don't know what it means. You're just saying it. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, you're right. What does this word mean? So you have to have people in your corner like that. And I think if I didn't, then those moments would have been maybe unbearably heavy. And I could see why people sometimes give up on things because maybe they feel like it's a solo endeavor versus what you're trying to do here, which is create space for people to do it together.
Mhm.
What's the saying? Oh, it's if you want to go quickly, go alone.
I'm gonna go
If you
far.
want to go far, go together.
I knew you were gonna say that one, actually.
I like that.
100%. And just to hear the philosophy behind it, I think even those moments of seclusion and isolation that you mentioned, where you realized I am the only one supporting myself, I think that in itself is a bit of a spiritual process because it's in that moment that you realize no matter what, no matter who, I am self-sustaining and I have to keep this mission going. And at this moment, God or whatever you may believe in is teaching you, what if you had nothing? Would you still be doing this very particular thing that you're doing? And your
Yeah.
answer was yes. And that is so powerful because that specific moment will stay with you for the rest of your life. So no matter what ups and downs you feel later on in life, you'll remember, I did it myself at that point in time. I can definitely do it now with the support that I have around me. So I love hearing that. I want to hear a bit about your roles that you've played in the past or presently, and what shows
Sure.
and productions.
Um, there was a play I did in Buffalo. It was my first equity play as a lead, and uh, the play's called Disgraced, and the character's name was Amir, and basically he's a successful lawyer and was raised Muslim and kind of hides that about himself. Doesn't want to really be known as this, successful Muslim lawyer. Then a lot of things come to a head, and his identity is kind of used against him in the hope of trying to help his nephew and family. Everything gets mixed up, and there's this explosion of repressed feelings and emotions and identity. And that was probably one of the most important roles that I played at that time because it mimicked my journey. Not that I ever hid the fact that I was Muslim, um, but as an Albanian, there's this complex area of identity where some other, cultures or religions have kind of mixed the two together, Whereas we as a culture, we're very open about those are two separate things. Your faith is your own. The culture is kind of this, hopefully, unifying thing that we all come under. So for me, that was a really important role. And I think sometimes roles can be cathartic, even though you shouldn't go in with the idea that it's going to be cathartic because then it becomes, pardon my language, a little masturbatory emotionally. You're like, oh, I'm getting my emotions out playing this character. It's like, no, it's as a byproduct of authentically trying to play this role for what it really is in the moment. You kind of have these realizations about yourself. And I think every character that I've played gives me another puzzle piece to my own life and lets me see myself in a different way, makes me judge people less, makes me look at people in a way that's like, oh, they really aren't an other or an enemy. They're just me that grew in a different direction. And I think now the more that I do it, um, it builds a lot of compassion for people, even people that I have nothing in common with, quote unquote, nothing. But yeah, I think that role in particular opened up a lot, uh, opened up a lot for me.
Do you have any dream role or dream script? Yeah, I see you've already started with the beard.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Wait a
I actually,
minute. It just clicked. The beard is on purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
He's
it's
keep,
funny. It's not, it doesn't give me any magical Muslim powers having the beard, you know. It's just sometimes people have this misconception, but uh yeah, it's more for the for like particular acting look because it's easier to shave than it is to grow. But that would absolutely be a dream role. Um, you know, sometimes it's tough to say to put your dreams out there in the world because you risk getting slammed and hit from every direction. But I'm at a point in my life where I'm very bold and open and my faith and my intentions are honest. So I really have no fear of stating something that's important to me because he's one of the biggest icons of our culture. And I think he's like one of the most misunderstood as well. Because there is this like secret arguments of like, oh, well, was he Muslim? Was he this? Was he that? Did he, you know, and historically, he played the political game like an absolute genius. He used both sides that were really not practicing their faith. They were practicing a politicized version of their faith.
Mhm.
And he knew how to play them against each other for the hope of an Albanian identity to exist literally today. So he's one of the most like genius military tacticians, and also I think just a very thoughtful human being that at the time he may not have had a contemporary really in the thought of intelligence.
People don't even realize like he he had every religion at one point. He went from pagan to Orthodox to being Muslim to then being Catholic. And
Also,
then
those Ottoman Turkish libraries were about as close to what we could have gotten from the libraries of Alexandria at the time. And
yeah,
he was totally in the space of all of that knowledge.
yeah.
And it's just, I mean, listen, we can go on and on about it. I was actually, when I was at the David Lynch screenwriting program, I started writing a pilot in the hopes of creating a show that would be um, like a Game of Thrones-esque series based on Skanderbeg's journey throughout the eras of, you know, being taken as a child to being immersed in the Ottoman Turkish Empire to building so much renown that the sultans and the kind of admins of that time were becoming jealous of him and trying to plot against him, and then him going back. It's just unbelievable. And that's religion aside. That's just like the political opportunities they created in that world.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You have the
I could talk
screenwriter
about that all day.
portion. You have the screenwriter portion down already, and
Yes,
you can do
yes,
the
yes, yes.
acting. But what I really like in your presentation of Skanderbeg or Skanderbeg, because we often ask people
Hmm.
what's your favorite Albanian legend, hero, etc. And they say Skanderbeg because he's tough or he won. But you're just like, he was a genius strategist. And
He
let me
was a
tell you
protector.
why.
He was a
Hmm.
protector. He wasn't going to take anything from anyone. He just refused. He was in a space where he's like, listen, this is what your word was. This is what your besa was. When my father passes, I'm going to be reinserted into Kruya and take over there. That didn't happen. That was automatic. Okay, you can't keep your word. I'm going to protect what's mine and my people's. Be
Okay.
absolutely beautiful. He was a protector. He wasn't, that's what really makes him absolutely unique amongst anyone else in history, is that he wasn't trying to go take something else. He was just like, hey, this is ours. Don't mess with it.
Bring it back is all I have to say. Whatever he was doing,
Yeah,
bring it back. The protection aspect.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I'll hand it over to Rog for another question before we go into a speed round of things.
Sure.
No, I mean, with all the stuff that you do now, like what's a message like you'd send to young creatives? Because you have probably a lot of not just kids, but Albanian kids in general too, that probably have a creative passion just like you to be in acting, to be in writing, to be a teacher, anything of sorts. What kind of positive words would you give to a kid that's trying to be just like you in today's world?
Create, keep your word, work with people in a positive way. It's not all just me, mine, gimme, gimme. Like, what can you bring to the table of doing something creative? Don't be afraid to what's the word I'm looking for right now? I just had it on the tip of my tongue, and it's
Mm.
don't be afraid to apprentice with somebody. Don't be afraid to know that you don't know. Like if you want to work with somebody that has a deeper knowledge base than you, say that. Like, hey, I'd like to study under you. Like as a martial artist, you don't go in, you don't walk into a dojo and you're like, yo, teach me some stuff. You got to come in with a kind of a thoughtfulness, and not to sound too corny, but besa is very important. Your word is your bond, and you have to do your best to keep that. So I think that's the most important thing. And if you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay to say I messed up because that happens a lot of times too. Really try to be thoughtful and honest, and just create. Don't judge yourself. Just create. Most of the stuff that you make the first time is going to suck anyway. So just get over it and make more.
You have to
Yeah.
start. You have to
Yeah.
start and not worry about the process being perfect because no matter how much you calculate, it will never be perfect when you start out. You just have to do, and the rest kind of follows into place if you're consistent. But imagine having a frame as your teacher if you're like a starry-eyed third grader or fourth grader who has all of these dreams, and he's like, "Yeah, do it, create." I love that. What has teaching kids taught you, and how has that experience been like? What age groups do you teach?
I thought I was I thought I was a patient person. I really learned had learned a lot more about patience in that world. I mean, literally from 3K to 8th grade, I've taught every grade in between. And the youngest kids are just they're beautiful. Hey, Mr. G, because they obviously don't say my last name, so they'll be like, hey, Mr. G, and they'll come give me a hug, and you just like immediately get kind of softened by that feeling. You see kind of as they grow up that excitement, and then once they hit that kind of pubescent age, it's like the challenge, and they don't want to F authority kind of stuff, and you have to figure out how to navigate that because yeah, you can be. I'm 6'3", 200 something, but I can like lord over these kids and be like, do this. But it's like, really, am I accomplishing anything? I'm just teaching them to do that now to someone else. So I try my best to communicate with them. I love it. It's like some of the best moments to be perfectly honest, I've cried seeing some kids' situations and thinking like, how is this possible? And there's parents, people would have these judgments and think like lower income families, I see dads taking their kids to school, giving them a big kiss on the cheek, have a good day, do well, you're the smartest. So I'm seeing this now. I mean, there's all the misconceptions. Somebody will say like, insert, you know, uh, low income group, and you could say, oh, they're not good parents, or they're not this. But I've seen some of the most beautiful moments in my life at a, you know, elementary and middle school in Flatbush, Brooklyn.
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, before we start crying, I'm gonna be a bit emotional. So he asks you some questions about how Albanian you actually are, and I'm
hmm
sure you'll pass, but we'll see.
Okay,
I like to just get into some like random Albania questions.
do it.
Sometimes I'll do some of the common ones, but I like to get into some random ones as well and just see how Albanian you are. It's usually a fun little thing we like to do.
Mhm.
But we always have people on here that sometimes take their time with answers. You can answer them fast. It's whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. But what's one Albanian word that's impossible to translate?
Oh, oh man.
This is a rough one.
No, you see, I because actually I do know the translation for the word, but for the longest time I couldn't figure it out. For shamble, right? Or
For
I say
example.
like, but right, it means like for instance, right, or something like that.
Uh,
For yeah, so
Yeah.
I know the answer now, but I can't think of the word now. That's so funny. But I
but
love
that's
how
a
you
good
like
that's a good one
me
right
pizza
there.
garden, like you're drinking it. It's like
Yeah.
we don't make sense, man. Come on, we make
Or
sense to ourselves though.
or Pramaya. Like
Oh my God. I asked a doctor about that, a doctor friend of mine. I was like, listen, you got to tell me, man. I was like, can you get a crick in your neck from catching a draft? And he was like, medically, no. I was like, okay, then we must be just like magical creatures because Pormaya, Pormaya. My mom's like, oh, Shilliper's order, like, close the window. I'm called Pormaya. And she goes like this. And now me and my brother, every time I say, I go, ooh, Pormaya, Pormaya. I just go like that.
which which Albanian song instantly gets you hyped?
Say it again.
Which Albanian song instantly gets you like out of your seat and going?
She must be from
Kosovo.
Kosovo.
I was about to say that. How did you know? I was about to say Kosovo.
You
Man,
guys are
listen,
hilarious.
when I was at the rooftop screening, I played that and people were like, you could see them, their ears are perking up, like, where's that coming from? So
That is
that's where I'm at right now. That one's on constant loop.
what I love that, by the way. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
that one. You guys just hyped me up. Um, what's some of your favorite Albanian food?
Ooh, right now I could pair up some misha pasud. Ooh, just old school like farmer food. I love that stuff, man. Bokola much. Oh my God, you ever see the that freaking video of the old lady? She's like, "Give me
Which
my
one?
Bokola much, or I'm gonna It's a freaking AI video, man. I
Oh,
gotta send it. It's ridiculous.
AI, man.
These AI
Anyway,
videos are getting out of
it's
hand.
ridiculous, but it's just funny. But I have to say, if it's like a default choice, it'll be pita, burek, uh, spinach and cheese.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I got a few more. I got a few more. What's
Go
one
ahead.
Albanian tradition you think the world should adopt?
One
I give you,
Albanian tradition.
I give you the tough ones because I know you're creative.
See what he did there?
Shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Adaptability. No, but there's a few that's like popping in my head now. Oh, I was gonna make a joke and say like reading coffees and tea leaves and stuff like that, but I'm actually not a personal fan of that. My uncle used to do this joke where he would look at it and he'd be like, oh, it says your fortune is gonna be in the next one. So it'd always be like your fortune's gonna be in the
Nah.
next one, next one, next one, so on and so forth. Um yeah, we're gonna have to pass. It'll come back to me in a second as I answer more.
Okay, okay. And do you have a favorite place to go to
Oh,
besides
here
like
we
your
go.
hometown?
Everyone's sitting together
Hmm.
in that
Sofa?
like yes, and just the like sitting together in that way where it's not like, oh, you eat dinner, you get up, you're running around, like everyone's just like there talking, having these like deep conversations. I haven't experienced too many of those, but I remember as a kid, just when I was in those environments, I would just sit and listen and be like, wow, like there's a real um gravitas, like an emotional weight to everybody in the space. Like they're just there with each other. And I think that would be great. It also grounds you because you got to be able to get up and down off the floor and not too many
Yeah.
people look cool doing that. So
the interactions were a lot more real too, in that sense as
Yeah.
well. You know, where you're all just kind of just all talking about one thing, and then everybody just starts going.
And
I
a side one would be that basically the not caring that you can basically smoke anywhere like it's still the 90s. I don't smoke at all, but it's hilarious when they do that.
they still do that back home. It's insane.
Yeah.
Hospitals or I went to school. I did sixth grade in Albania. I see my history professor coming up the stairs, public school, with a
This is
cigarette before he enters the classroom.
Hmm.
Now they can't, but in some places you can still get away with it. It's actually hilarious because no F's given whatsoever.
But yeah,
but besides your hometown, do you have a favorite place to go to in Albania, Kosovo, Macedonia, wherever you like traveling? Montenegro.
when it was a while back, but honestly, going to Castle Kruja was like one of the most beautiful experiences for me. I wanted to go all the way down to Butrint down south, just because there's one of the oldest amphitheaters that's carved into the side of essentially like Stone Mountain. So
Yeah.
these are where um, conversations and plays and all types of probably philosophical debates happen, and that's next on my list. That's a place I would love to go.
And the
I like
Statue of
that.
Medea, right? That's why
Yeah,
you want to go to. I went there for the first time this past summer with my parents, and you have to go down a very long trek to actually see the statue. And once you get there, there's a guide, and I'm like, oh, the goddess Dea, it's a feminine goddess. And the
yeah.
guide is like, did you know it's a hermaphrodite? Like, what? Like,
They're like,
seriously?
no, no, it isn't. No, 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 no,
No, I'm
everybody,
like,
no,
first
no.
of all, sir, that's not the correct term.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you.
So, but that's the term that they use. So apparently the actual identity of Idea is not sure, but still a goddess nonetheless of the sun.
Yeah.
Once Rock has his questions, and I have a couple for you as well.
Okay.
This is my last one. And since you're into the acting, into the writing, if if Hollywood gave you a chance to make a movie today, besides the Skanderbeg film, um, what would that movie about Albanians be called?
Oh man, there's one I'm working on right now, and it's a series. But if they wanted to make it into a movie, it'd be hilarious. It's called Bad Supers. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, oh,
Bad
But it's a comedy.
Supers.
It's a comedy. Don't take it personally. I work also as another side job. I work as an assistant to a superintendent, so I got my hands in a million different pies.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. That'd be creative.
I like that. Speaking of creative, so you're an actor, right? Like, are you really an actor or you're an actor?
Oh no, I mean, I
Okay,
hope
so
so.
I think I'm gonna make you act a little bit if you don't mind.
He could be acting right
Okay,
now. We don't
I'm
know.
gonna
okay,
give you.
okay.
He's like, I was acting the whole time. I have this fool, but
No, this is my AI avatar. I'm not even
it's your
here,
AI
actually.
avatar.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a line, right? It's gonna be
Oh
one
my God.
sentence line, but then I'm gonna give you different personalities to portray it as. You're
This is
going to have
ridiculous.
to,
As they say in improv, yes, and so here we
yes,
go.
and the line is this. While winning the lottery can be life-changing, the best way to build wealth is
Mm,
having your own business. So, while winning the lottery can be life-changing, the best way to build wealth is having your own business. Okay?
sure.
Okay, so the first attitude is gonna be Valley Girl from California. Let's go.
Ah,
Ah, that's hilarious.
so like, while winning the lottery is like cool and stuff, you'd rather do just like my dad is like just earn your own wealth.
Duh.
I mean, duh. Like, as if very
I love
90s
it. 10
mean
out of
girls.
10. Next one.
Oh God. They're
Your
gonna cut this up and put this is gonna be fun. Yeah, good.
your favorite village uncle from Albania. Let's go.
Oh my God. Well, I'm swear to God, I'm gonna win the lotto and then I'm gonna make investment. Kenneth Paul.
I like how the camera just like hyper focused on him when he
Hmm.
did that. He's got the
Now
actor camera.
you're at the White House and you're at a
Oh
press
my God.
conference and you're addressing the nation about this specific topic.
I know everybody's here to find out whose names are on the list, but we are actually going to take a moment to put that aside and talk about potentially winning the lottery. Okay. And if you know anything about the lottery, most people are somehow the winners are associated with the CIA, but no talking about that. And, let's invest in some waterfront properties, let's say somewhere in the Middle East, recently ceasefired, and we'll go from there.
I love that. Oh my God. You've been nailing these. I think this is your new portfolio to send in for a
Yeah, yeah.
cast.
No, no, here we go. This is when I never get cast again.
And I have one more. One
Yes.
more, okay?
Okay.
Sales bro who lives in Miami trying to recruit you into an MLM scheme. Let's go.
Oh my God. Hold on. So, whoa, like your name's Dia? Like that's so like wow, what is that? That's crazy. Anyway, more about what I was saying. If you happen to win the lotto, like you know what you could do with that money? You could 10x your you could 10x your funds and you could totally invest in some waterfront property in a recently ceased-fired Middle Eastern country. Oh God. Okay. And a firm never works again. There you go.
Love
You're
it.
welcome.
Oh,
Love
that was
it.
great.
Love it completely. That was amazing. Nailed
That
them
was great.
all. 10 out of 10. Not only is he an actor, he's the best one we've seen. That's crazy. Thank you, Ephraim. Not only did you
Thanks.
make us laugh, you had so much wisdom you had to share with us that we gained a lot of knowledge from, but I'm sure those who are watching will as well. I think we learned a lot about determination, about honoring your roots, about loving your background, and knowing how to turn that difficulty or pain into something beautiful through channeling it through creation. I think if there was a iconic message of this episode. It's just create, 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 because whatever you do, you can channel good energy into it.
You
But
create, you create no matter what you do.
yeah,
It's one thing too. It's this came up for me, just reminded me. The role of a teacher kind of came to me a few times in my life, and I kept putting it off, thinking like, oh, who am I to be a teacher? Like I don't even have my own shit together, pardon my language. And how am I going to teach someone else? But the truth is like every single person that's alive is a teacher because we see what they do. So whether you want to or not, you're a teacher to your kids, your nieces and nephews. The people walking down the street are going to be taught a lesson by how you interact with the world. So, um, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
something that came up on a little
No, that's
brought
totally
brought
correct
to you
though.
by coffee.
That's
that
totally
is
correct though.
the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, I like that.
What
I
your
like that.
final message for this video, not for life, would be for the audience watching today?
Take a chance, pursue something you love. If you like somebody, tell them you like them. If you want to do something, take a chance and do it. You literally live this one time, and it goes by very quickly, you know. So take a chance, fail. It's okay to fail. And then you can really see if you love that thing and if you want to continue doing it.
Love it.
Do it even if you're scared. It's okay.
I feel like all those could be like quoted with your face, like a mountain with eagles in the background. Name Afrim Gjonbalaj with that as well. But thank you, Ephraim. We really had an excellent conversation. We thank you for your time today. And if people want to reach out to you or find out your acting and your clips, where can they reach out to you or find you online?
Uh, afrimjambalai.com or afrimjambalai at any of the social media platforms. Yeah.
Gjonbalaj, because that
Yes.
sounded
I
like
say, I say it.
jambalaya to
No,
me.
I say it Americanized just to, but yeah, Jambalaya, obviously.
I love it.
Because if I over Albanian, put the Albanian twist on, they're like, so I just say Jambalaya, like the stew, and they're like, oh, I get it, but it starts with a G. Okay, Sounds
Love
Gjonbalaj.
good.
it. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you again, everyone, for tuning in on another episode of Kultura podcast. We'll catch you here next time.
Like, subscribe,
Oh,
comment, share.
10x.
Don't be a book. 10x this Cultura podcast, bro. What are you even doing? Are you even Albanian if you don't
Oh
share, like, and subscribe the Cultura podcast?
I love
Bro,
this.
10x this podcast numbers. Stop messing around, you goofball. Now,
Bang.
my God. Our new intro. You just gave me 10 years of life from this
yeah, yeah.
episode from
Like
laughing.
seriously, if you're seriously watching Cultura podcast right now and you haven't liked, shared, subscribed, told your boyfriend, told your side piece, told his side piece, sneaky links,
What are
What are you
you
doing?
like
doing?
what are you even doing?
And cut. Catch you guys
Okay,
next.
sorry. I could literally
No,
just
we
be
loved
stupid all
it.
day. Okay. That's it. Thank you everyone.